A very good morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Some interesting trades which popped up actually. A profitable trade on GBPUSD which hit take profit and shared yesterday. Now we're going to be diving in towards the major dollar pairs and seeing what's going on over there. So starting off with EURUSD. EURUSD did indeed move further in towards the downside. It broke this area of demand as we can see over here. It wicked through it and has now pulled back in towards the highs after grabbing some liquidity which was situated underneath the lows. Now preferably I would like to see some downside continuation in towards that area of demand. However, it is dependent on how we react from this area of supply. So at the moment, this high of this bullish candle over here is your fractal high, also known as a structural high, and we're looking to trade euro dollar further in towards the downside from that area of demand, supply. So if that supply zone were now to break, that means that we create an area of demand over here, and we will then be looking for that upside continuation. So as long as this area of supply holds, further downside, if this high over here breaks, then we will look for upside continuation. Now that is euro dollar. Moving on in towards the dollar index. On the dollar index, we saw indeed a retracement from this area of supply. So a nice strong retracement back in towards the downside. Now this is just the initial reaction after liquidating pretty much the highs over here and tapping in towards that area of supply. So for now, what I'm looking for, as the bullish momentum is still high, is a potential retracement down lower in towards this area of demand over here, or even this area of demand over here. At the moment, our fractal low, again our structural low, is low over here of this bullish doji candle or hammer candle, very small candle over here, and as long as that low is respected, we would expect the dollar index to continue up higher. If that low breaks, then we have the confirmation that the dollar index is ready to move down lower. So as long as we just keep up with this bullish momentum, we expect the overall price of dollar index just to continue up going higher. At the moment, we are bearish from this high in towards this low, so do keep in mind we're now kind of like all the way in the extreme of that swing range. However, to have the confirmation that we now want to see further downside, because obviously we've tapped in towards supply, but we're not just going to be randomly selling from that area of supply. We now want to see some bearish momentum come in. So two options: either we take out this high first, then boom, retrace, pull back, boom, and we break the low which broke this high, or we just start pushing in towards the downside, react bullish, or we push in towards the downside, break this fractal structural low, and then I will look for further downside continuation. So those are the three plays I'm looking for on the dollar index. Now going onwards in towards Australian dollar against the US dollar. A beautiful reaction from this area of demand over here. There was a trade, in fact, yesterday which you could have taken. Now obviously we had an overextended move in towards the downside. We come in towards this area of demand. Again, this is your swing low over here. This is your swing high. So you're pretty much at the 786 fib retracement, right? So it's a good place to go long from, and you can be a little bit more aggressive when you're this low within the market. And obviously we also saw that the dollar index was inside of an area of supply. Now what you then can do is that you can look for an overall trend shift. So what was the overall trend shift that happened over here? This was the fractal low. Then what happens? What is the high which broke that low? That was the high over here. So what happens pretty much is that you get the push down, you get the pullback, you get the push down, you get the push up in towards this high over here. You then get a pullback in towards this demand zone, and from there you could have gone long further in towards the upside. So beautiful. If you wanted to wait for more confirmation, obviously we form a high over here. No, from this low in towards this high is your impulse. You then retrace back down in towards this clear area of demand, very clear range over here of liquidity situated below it, and then we tap in towards this demand zone, and from there we move up higher. But obviously this over here was the best trade. So that's Aussie dollar. Going back in towards the 4 hour, after explaining that, do keep in mind your counter trend trading on the lower time frame, on your entry time frame, if you took the entry that I just showed you. So now we have to take into consideration that after reacting to this area of demand, obviously we do expect that there's going to be further upside continuation. However, there's no real liquidation in this move over here. So what could happen is that we see one more push down, liquidate the low, and then for example look for a trend shift and then further longs. Otherwise, just keep on looking for that further downside, preferably from example from this area of supply, and just sell from there once again until you see a 4 hour change of character. Do keep in mind, like, we have some big news today, so we could also just pop down lower. Then obviously this over here will be my main target for the dollar or for Aussie dollar. Otherwise, if we do see further upside, then obviously I will be looking at this area of supply over here. So these are kind of like the two main areas of supply, and depending on how we kind of like form structure inside here, will we see zone number 1 or zone number 2. So that's Aussie dollar. Moving on in towards pound dollar. So I took a long yesterday on pound dollar. What was pretty much the trade that we took? Well, overall you can see 4 hour is bullish. We pulled back in towards discount pricing over here. So we can see that this is the swing range all the way from this low in towards this high. We pull back in towards that 50% mark. So straight away, what we're seeing at the same time is the dollar index pushing in towards an area of supply. We have a heavy overextended move in towards the downside. And at that point in time, what I was looking at was pretty much these imbalanced candles over here, from where I wanted to look for a potential long, but that also in line with pretty much the overall liquidity, which was situated below the low over here. And then on the lower time frame, on the 5-minute time frame, I was looking for my entry. Now, what's interesting about pound dollar is that at the moment we've seen a change of character. So over here, for change of character high, this one has now been broken, meaning that we've now got fractal structure aligning with the overall 4-hour bullish swing structure. So now what I'm looking for is for this area of demand to play out and to see a potential further increase in price on pound dollar. I did mention in my yesterday's video, there's not a lot of strong areas of demand, so we could just head down lower. Keep that in mind. If we do, then my main target for pound dollar will pretty much be this area of demand over here. And for people who want to know the exact coordinates, over here on my screen you can see